Hey guys, welcome back to My Way with the Morleys, and this video is all about our tow car. Our tow car is a Skoda Superb Estate SE business. We've had it for just over 2 years now. We thought we'd show you around some of the features of the car, what we like about it, some of the things that we would like to see possibly improved, and yeah. So the Superb in this trim has a curb weight of around roughly 1500 kilos. So the car has got a 2-litre turbo diesel engine producing around 140 brake horsepower, which is more than ample for everyday driving. I've never been in a position where I felt we were massively underpowered. Yes, okay, you can get cars with a much more powerful engine and will make life slightly easier, certainly if you're going up and down dale. But for the towing that we've done, it's been more than capable. Now, one of the things I really love about this car is that the boot space is absolutely enormous. You can get so much in the back of this car just for everyday sort of use. It's more than adequate. Even when you're going away, I feel that we need to be mindful of the fact that we've got the caravan on the back and not to overload the rear axle. You do have the room to carry so much stuff with you. Now the car's got roof rails as standard in this trim, which are great for attaching roof bars and makes doing that really quick and really easy to do. Now when it comes to everyday driving of this car, the 2-litre engine really is ample. It's absolutely fine. With the turbo, it's got a nice kick, which whilst it's never feels like it's rapid, it is perfectly capable of handling it itself. And so at motorway speeds of 70 miles an hour, the engine's pulling at around 1800 revs, which is great for fuel economy. I can expect 60 plus miles to the gallon out of the car on a decent run. And everyday town driving, assuming you're not booting it around, you can expect 42 miles to the gallon. I get something like that when I'm driving into our office. I can expect about 42 miles to the gallon, which I don't think is too bad. Now the tank on this car is not massive, but it is good for about 650 miles, and that's good enough really for when you're towing as well to get a good amount of distance from a tank. So our tow bar for this car is a detachable type, which is great for just hiding the tow bar when you're not in use. All you do is release the tow bar and you'd never know it's there. It's lockable, so when you pop it on, there's a key that comes with the tow bar and you can lock it in place so that nobody can pinch it off the back of the car whilst it's there. So we've got a multifunctional dash, so you can see various steering wheel buttons, obviously volume for the stereo, some other also radio controls, and then we have some buttons here which relate to the dash and what we see on there. I'm not going to go through every mode that you can see and all these things. If you do have any specific queries, just drop us a comment and just ask us if there's anything in particular you want to cover. But we get the sort of usual standard features in the car in this sort of price range. So we've got cruise control on the left stalk here. We don't have automatic wipers, but we are able to set the time delay between if you've got it on an interval setting. We have auto light controls, which are a godsend. We also can obviously increase or decrease the display brightness, and then also really important when towing is the ability to be able to adjust the headlights. Obviously if we are towing, we want it on 3 because the back end of the car is going to be sitting a bit lower and therefore the lights will be pointing up, and that really does make a big difference. So onto the entertainment system, we have this nice LCD panel here, this touchscreen. This is actually the uprated display that Skoda do, slightly bigger than the standard in the SE business line trim. So we have map, navigation, traffic messages, setup features. Then we have a DAB radio, media, we have CD player. You also can read from an SD card, auxiliary input, Bluetooth input as well. The aux in is in here, which is full of junk. Cup holders, which are an okay size, and then we also have a little compartment here. So we've got charging point. Some other buttons that we've got on the left hand side here. Traction control off. Though when you do engage this, it doesn't fully turn it off, which is sometimes a bit frustrating. Certainly if it's if you're in snow or on mud. I like to think if you turn it off, you give me full control, but it still doesn't give you full control. It still will cut in, which is frustrating sometimes. We have a tyre pressure set button. So obviously between normal driving conditions and when we're towing, we need to increase the pressures and it's useful to just tell the car to set the current pressures after you've done them. This car is equipped with start-stop technology, so if you're in traffic and you have it in neutral and there is nothing dragging much from the battery, it will automatically power the car down, which is obviously useful to save emissions and fuel. The off button for the auto start-stop. Glove box is of an okay size. It's not refrigerated, but it's of a good size. Other interior features, we have heated seats, which are brilliant. I've never had a car before this one with heated seats, and I have to say I'm a massive convert. They're brilliant. There's 3 settings, so there's a high, medium and low. We have a dual zone climate control system. The air conditioning in this car is absolutely brilliant. It's really, really powerful. When it's on a really hot day, you only need to use it on full power for a short amount of time, and it will regulate the temperature really, really well. I've had other cars by other manufacturers, and the air conditioning is by no means anywhere near as good as it is in this car, and also I had a Golf many years ago, so the Fag Group aircon is absolutely brilliant. Other useful to note things, we have 3 12-volt outlets, really useful obviously for families. You need to charge things on the go, so we have one in the front, we have one in the back, we also have one in the boot, which is useful if you've got a little fridge that you want to plug in and keep stuff cool whilst you're on your journey. Now when it comes to space in the back, the Superb really does live up to its name. This is the driver's seat in my position where I would have it. I'm about 6'1", and you can see here that there is still plenty of knee room between the driver's seat and my knees, so there is absolutely loads and loads of leg room in the back for a good size adult. So we've also got an armrest, so if there's only 2 of you travelling in the back, you've got a nice armrest to use with an extendable cup holder as well. This also can pull down too, so you can get into the back. So if you do have something you want to carry that's got to come through but you don't need the seats flattening, that works perfectly for that. Now you will have noticed in the back there's plenty of leg room. The one thing I didn't mention was the width of the car. Now as far as cars go inside wise, leg room, this is I think the best on the market that you can probably buy. There's not many cars, if any cars, that have got more legroom than they have in here. However, the width of the car, as is on most estate cars, is not all that great if you've got more than one car seat in the back. So obviously we have 3 kids. If we've got the kids with the car seats in the back and Finn in the back, it really doesn't leave him much room in the middle. If you have kids yourself, you'll understand that when you've got car seats in the car, they're really bulky. And so to have 2 seats in the back and a passenger in the middle, it doesn't make for much of a comfortable ride for him. That is the reason why we have Isla sat in the front, or one of them sat in the front in a car seat, just to give you a bit more room in the back. So what's it like to drive when we're towing? Well, I have to say it's always been a pretty pleasant experience. We've never suffered any instability issues with towing the caravan with this car. It's been more than capable, stability is good. What sort of economy you can expect from the car really depends on the terrain you're driving on, but we typically get between 27 to 31 miles to the gallon, 32 miles to the gallon, something like that when we're towing, which is certainly not the worst out there. It is obviously a significant drop from what we would get normally when we're driving solo or just around town, you know, if we're doing a long motorway journey, but it's still, I don't think, too bad. The oil temperature runs a little higher, obviously, as the car is going to have to work harder because we're shifting more mass. But so typically on a drive like now, when we're just driving solo, oil temperature is around about 90 degrees, probably goes up to about 95, something like that. We've never had any issues when it comes to overheating, certainly when we've been driving through France when it was a bit warmer, like plus 25 degrees. Never had any issues like so, touch wood. Now when it comes to pulling away, I always try and to be as mechanically sympathetic as I can when we've got the caravan on board. You're putting a lot of load through the clutch. Obviously when you're loaded up with the caravan and you've got passengers in the back, you've got a lot of weight on the back end, so there's less weight on the front, and so it's quite easy to spin the wheels as you're pulling away. But with a bit of practice and being a bit mindful of the fact that obviously you are towing and there's less weight on the front, it makes sense to just be a little more careful when it comes to pulling away. Not only for the sake of spinning up the wheels, but also for the sake of just giving the clutch a bit of an easier time. When it comes to motorway speeds, at 60 miles an hour, it is a bit of a dance between 5th and 6th gear. To be honest, I tend to opt for 5th. If you do hit a slight incline, you don't need to worry about dropping it down into 5th, because with this car being a 6-speed box, it's geared slightly high, which is why when you're at 70 you're only doing quite low RPM, and that's why you get the great economy. When you've got the caravan on the back and you're only doing 60, it's a little out of the usable power band, so I tend to opt for fifth, which just gives you a bit more options when it comes to any inclines. I've never had too much trouble when it comes to inclines. It will do most hills in fourth gear, dropping down to third if really necessary, but there's not many inclines on a motorway that tend to need any more than third gear, certainly. There is obviously cruise control on the car. I don't tend to use that too much when we're towing, just because I kind of like to be a little more in control with my right foot and the speed. If there are any stability issues, I want to know that if I ease off, it's going to maybe help. So I don't tend to use cruise control too much when we're towing. Visibility from the mirrors is pretty good too whilst we're towing. So obviously we fit our external mirrors like you should do, and you have to do by law. But the visibility out of the car's mirrors are pretty decent when it comes to towing. Obviously our caravan isn't an 8 foot wide job, but the visibility is still pretty good. The mirrors, by the way, are also heated, so if you do have a frosty morning, you can pop those on and it will defrost your mirrors for you. I have to say, when we went to France, it was incredibly stable. I was really pleasantly surprised, because I was a bit worried that we were going to be up at the MT-PLM of the caravan when we're going away for 2 weeks. We obviously took a load more stuff than we would normally do if we were just going away for 2 or 3 days. So the car was pretty heavy. The car had the roof box on, which helped, certainly helped, I think, with the stability. I mean, we took it fairly leisurely down to Plymouth, and in France it was absolutely fine. So I've got no issues when it comes to stability with this car. It seems to do the job really well. In terms of road holding, this car is pretty capable. I mean, it is a big family estate car, so it's not like you're going to be throwing it around the corners like it's a hot hatch. So, you know, for the size car that it is, it holds the road pretty well. It's a comfortable ride as well. The suspension is not too firm. You know, if you get something that's slightly more performance orientated with a slightly harder suspension, it can be a bit of an irritation if you're doing long journeys. But the suspension on this car, the ride quality of this car is really good. So all in all, I love this car. It's been brilliant to us. It's been so useful having it with the loading capability of this. It's so great to just be able to throw everything in the back. If you're just doing a little DIY project at home, you can put the seats down, throw everything in the back, take it to the tip. Haven't got to pay for a skip or anything like that. It's perfect for that sort of thing. It's great for going away in the caravan. There's so much room in the back just to throw light stuff in. Stability is really good. The only weak points for me, the sat nav is not all that intuitive sometimes. The dials on the steering wheel, they're sort of roller buttons that you push up and down, and sometimes you can push it up just one click and it actually goes down on the dash, which is a bit strange. It's just little things like that. It's the tiny little details, really, but that's what you get from having owned this for like 2 years. And these are the tiny little things, the little frustrations that you get with cars, which can never really be picked up on just a demonstration ride that you might have for a couple of hours, or, you know, do it for over a weekend. But having owned the car for now 2 years, I know it pretty well. I know what it's capable of. This car is supremely comfortable. These seats, the leather seats that we've got in here, I really like the leather. They're really easy to wipe clean. So when the kids get in with muddy boots and muddy shoes and muddy clothes, you can just wipe them down and it's perfect. The seats are really comfortable for long journeys. There's a good amount of support for the driver's side, adjustable lumbar support. It's not electric. It's still mechanical, so it's not electric like you'll get on some top marks cars, but you can get the position really comfortable. So would I buy another Skoda? Absolutely yes. It's been perfect for what we've done. It's perfect for day to day. If it weren't for the fact that we possibly might want a heavier caravan in the future, I'd be tempted to have another one. I still may have another one. I'm not yet 100% sure. I'm not 100% sure we could afford a twin axle caravan even in 3 years time after this has been replaced, or 4 years time, so that's yet to be decided. So if you like this video, hit the thumbs up, click subscribe if you've not already done so, and into all things outdoors caravanning related, and drop us a comment. Maybe you want to share a car that you've got, or if you've got any queries or questions on this car, drop us a line and I can answer those. I always try to answer every single comment we get. So if you've got any questions, drop us a line. Thanks very much for watching, and until the next video, we'll see you soon. Cheers.